After a furious finish 4 days ago, tonight on Friday Night Football, it's the 25th annual Labor Day rematch between the Alberta rivals, the Stampeders and the Eskimos.
For Calgary, Kevin Glenn, the starting quarterback, was nicked. He will dress tonight but will not start. That will be Bo Levi Mitchell getting his second start of the season. In his first, it was an impressive one against Winnipeg. He threw for 376 and 3 touchdowns. The other sideline, Mike Riley, is second in the league in passing yards. And although it's not an official stat, he has to be leading the league in hits taken by a quarterback. We'll see if his protection is better tonight.
His coach, Cabus Reed, fined $2,500 for abuse of officials following Monday's game, looking for his first win at home, first win against a Western opponent, first win for his team since week 2. And on the other sideline, it's game number 100 as the head coach of the Calgary Stampeders for John Hufnagel, who has yet to lose the Labor Day rematch. Last 3 of these meetings in Edmonton have been decided by 1, 2, and 3 points. What a finish we had 4 days ago. What's in store tonight? And a welcome to folks watching south of the border on NBCSN. Here we go. Paredes to kick it off, and Joe Burnett on the return. And Burnett up to about the 28-yard line. Mike Riley, 4 touchdowns in just under 6 minutes late on Monday.
Well, it's a brand new career, but that's a career high for Mike Riley, his 4 touchdown passes. He gets 1 receiver back in the lineup off the 9 game. That's a Darius Bowman who will start as a backup, but will work into the lineup tonight. And Fred Stamps, despite being held in check on Monday, still leads the Canadian Football League in receptions.
Our starters to watch brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, where custom advice comes standard. 2 back set and the pitch to John White, trying to get outside against Charleston Hughes. And it's a first down run for White, and he lowers the boom on the safety, Eric Fraser. That's the longest run from scrimmage for White as an Edmonton Eskimo.
One of the points that Matt Dunnigan made in the pregame show was in order to get better protection as the game goes on for Mike Riley, the Edmonton Eskimos are going to have to commit to the run at some point. Looks like they want to get there early with John White.
14 yards for White and a first down. Pressure though on Mike Riley, and there's the first sack of the night. After 7 on Monday, Cordero Law and Jawan Simpson, who had a pair of sacks in the Labor Day matchup, gets to Riley early.
Cordero Law looks like he gets a favorable matchup for Calgary defensively out of the gate here, as he's going to go one-on-one on fullback Calvin McCarty and runs right past that block.
Stampeders tied for second coming into this game in sacks. That's team number 30 on the year. Second and long, Simpson again. Riley gets away, looking downfield, and still going, but runs out of real estate there, out of the reach of both Simpson and Hughes, and now a late flag is tossed at the bench.
I think Nate Kuhorn threw a punch. I'm not sure if he was provoked, and the refs got the Calgary Stampeder defensive back, I believe it was Darius Brooks, that Nate Kuhorn was going at it with, trying to block for his quarterback Mike Riley right near the Edmonton bench.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness at Edmonton, number 84. 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the play. 3rd down.
Called Kerry Koch's number, but we're told it was indeed Kuhorn.
I just looked to the right of your screen, and it was actually Fred Bennett. It was Brooks who pushed Mike Riley out of bounds. Bennett and Kuhorn in a pushing match, and they got the right hook from number 85.
First unnecessary roughness penalty since week 5. That was a problem early for the Eskimos, and Cabus Reed stopped that. Good downfield cover on the punt by Grant Shaw, fielded by Markway McDaniel. Bo Levi Mitchell to start for the Stamps. They go on offense when we come back. The knee injury on Monday. Bo Levi Mitchell finished up and gets his second career start. Of course, he had a memorable CFL debut as a starter against Winnipeg 6 weeks ago. Stamp starting at their own 50. Out of the backfield, John Cornish the catch. And taken down just on the Edmonton side of half by Damaso Munoz.
Well, Eastern Washington product. Bo Levi Mitchell is 1-0 as a starter. This is his second. Maurice Price can help him get his second win if he plays like he did on Monday. 3 touchdowns, a career high, 165 receiving yards. Put Brad Sinopoli up there for a couple of reasons. One is he's #2 receiver for Calgary on Labor Day Monday. And it's not a stretch to think that we may see him at quarterback if something were to happen to Bo Levi Mitchell.
2nd and 4, pressure coming on Mitchell, and Mitchell taken down back at the 43. So the Eskimos turn up the heat.
Starts with Marcus Howard. He's had a quiet first half by his standards, and I think by most Edmonton Eskimo fan projections, when it comes to what they expect from number 91 on the defensive line. He's got a great get off the snap, gets up high and around the corner. He causes the problems for Bo Levi Mitchell.
Just 4 2-and-outs for Calgary on Monday, and the Eskimos have generated only 10 in the past 4 weeks. So
ball's gone.
Better start for the green and gold defense. Gary Koch drops the football, and they give it right back through the hands of Kerry Koch, and the rookie Ben Aguilar comes up with it. The McMaster product. 47-yard punt, Koch mistake, gives Calgary the football back. Ben Aguilar with the fumble recovery, replacing the injured Keenan McDougall.
Kerry Koch just takes his eyes off the ball for a split second, takes a peek at Aguilar coming down on him, and drops the football. First mistake of this football game.
Metros Trophy winner in 2012, Aguilar, and here's John Cornish with a burst down to the 11-yard line, tackled by Rennie Curran, who gets his 3rd straight start in place of the injured J.C. Sherritt.
A couple of players to watch on defense for the Edmonton Eskimos. Saw Chris Thompson played a real good game in the secondary. A couple big hits by him, trying to set the tone physically. Damaso Munoz led all tacklers for the Edmonton Eskimos with 6. He had a couple sacks on the night as well. And Chris Wabakamba, wasn't all bad for Wabakamba, but he did give up 2 penalties and put the ball on the 1-yard line for Calgary in that Monday matchup.
Despite 37 points, just 1 for 3 in the red zone last week. Bo Levi Mitchell with the throwback, and Cornish will walk in. Touchdown, Calgary. A 10-yard pass to the touchdown leader in the Canadian Football League, John Cornish, who has his 10th.
A couple plays back-to-back to take advantage of the momentum swing. The mistake by Kerry Koch, and Calgary wastes very little time. 2 plays to Cornish. Well-executed screen as he looks like he's going to block. Comes out of there, picks up that catch, and continues to lead the Canadian Football League in touchdown scored.
2nd touchdown catch of the year for Cornish. And an opening quarter score for the Stampeders off an Eskimo turnover.
Perfectly executed screen. John Cornish, Stanley Bryant, the 2 key principals in this game. Watch Cornish chip on Marcus Howard to help out in protection first right there. Then he's going to release to pick up the screen. As we pick this up to the left, you're going to see Stanley Bryant, that left tackle, comes up with a key block to allow John Cornish outside of him, and he basically walks in.
Cornish over 1,000 yards from scrimmage after that series, and the Stampeders with the early lead. Joe Burnett on the return, And he's dropped at the 30-yard line. Yannick Carter with the tackle. Let's join Ryan Rashog on the sidelines.
Well, Chris, General Manager Ed Hervey made a lot of headlines this week, singling out offensive lineman Simeon Rotier, saying he will not play this week and really could care less if he plays another down for the rest of the season. While the rest of the linemen aren't feeling so great about that statement by Ed Hervey. In fact, Nat O'Donnell told us yesterday he could have singled out any one of us on the line. Simeon was the one that was given the criticism, but he said they all deserve it, and as a line, they take that very personally. The gauntlet has been thrown for tonight's game.
Not much there as John White carries the football. O'Donnell moves from right tackle to left guard tonight.
That's right. And then they'll move Miles Mason, who played at left guard on Monday, over to right guard. He replaces Simeon Rotier. They get Cliff Lewis back at right tackle. He has missed the last 5 games. You see his right arm is wrapped very well at that right tackle spot.
Go to hurry up, trying to get some early momentum. And a flag flies. Eskimos have not had the
Legal
lead.
procedure. Edmonton, number 54. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
So that's the center, Alex Krosnick, Calgary area product, who double clutch the football, draws the flag in just his 4th start as a pro. Former Saskatchewan Rough Rider, but didn't get many reps there. So 2nd and long, and Riley under some duress, rolls out again, and now takes off. Cordero along the area, somehow Riley gets away and has a 1st down. Well, this guy has earned a lot of fans despite 8 losses in 9 starts as an Eskimo quarterback.
I thought Matt Dunnigan made a great point in the pregame show when he said he's probably the most liked 1-8 quarterback in a long, long time in Canadian football, as he just will not quit, will not give up. He leads all quarterbacks in rushing from that position and just will not hook slide, refuses to. In fact, I don't think he will actually hook slide full time until they start winning games.
30-yard run. He is now the leading rusher on the Eskimos. 1st down, and there's a Darius Bowman back in the lineup. 1st time since week 2 last year. And here is a weapon that the Eskimos certainly can use.
Comes off the 9 game. You go back a couple of years, he was a CFL PA All-Star. A guy that over 1,000 yards in 2011. And just they're going to work him slowly into the lineup tonight. But yes, another weapon that make this receiving core just take it up one more notch. They can get him back and involved quickly.
62 catches, 1,153 yards, 2011. Got 6, 2nd and 4. Underneath, pass thrown incomplete. Tight coverage, Fred Bennett there. The man who had 2 interceptions on Monday, and the fans on the officials. Some contentious pass interference calls on Labor Day, and the fans were looking for one there.
Well, Bennett was working on Nate Kuhorn. Remember, Kuhorn drew a flag when he got into a bit of a pushing and fighting match with Fred Bennett. So that matchup continues as Kuhorn comes down from inside. So he starts out as a wide receiver. He'll bring the corner Bennett down in with him. Now he tries to pick, create a little rub there, and then open up in the curl. Bennett's right on the spot. I didn't see a penalty.
Short kick by Shaw, who was looking for the corner. Larry Taylor steps up, and there'll be a no yards penalty against the Eskimos, who don't give 5. So John Cornish and the Calgary offense gets set to go back to work after a Cornish touchdown. Offensive Player of the Week for his 3-touchdown performance last week. 159 yards after the catch and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, quarterback's dream. Don't have to throw it very far to Maurice Price. Let him do all the heavy lifting. Boy, did he do that on Monday.
Only quibble John Hufnagel had was how he finishes these touchdown runs. Get in the end zone was the message from the head coach after the game and the following day. But fresh legs back in the lineup, and Mo Price was the difference.
He's out there on Chris Wabakamba. Chris, a matchup that I won't be surprised at all to see Calgary go back to see how Wabakamba responds from a couple of penalties he took on Monday.
Legal procedure. Calgary number 66, 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
Big left tackle Stanley Bryant.
I believe that Dave Dickinson, the offensive coordinator, will have looked at that film and say, okay, let's get Maurice Price out on the young corner out of Duke and see if he bounces back or not from a couple of penalties. One I thought a little questionable. The second one certainly was pass interference. See how he responds.
Only 4 PIs called against Edmonton all year, twice against Robert Campbell last week, and that little dump pass to Cornish doesn't go very far. Armando Sewell in on the tackle.
Involved with one of the more interesting of the plays from Labor Day Monday, when in that comeback that fell just short for the Edmonton Eskimos, Armando Sewell had a fumble recovery that he tossed back or handed back to Chris Thompson. Pretty exciting play.
Passing situation for Mitchell. Pressure on, another screen, and Orquay McDaniel, that center screen is dropped, incomplete.
It would have been the greatest comeback in CFL history, and how it got started, or one of the reasons for it, was Armando Sewell's fumble recovery. Jabari Arthur, a former teammate from Akron, comes up with the fumble. Watch him hand it back to Chris Thompson.
They got to get him on offense running the Statue of Liberty, don't they?
And Thompson took it right down to the doorstep, and Edmonton scores a touchdown off of it.
Might have been the greatest comeback in Canadian Football League history. It just fell short. Joe Burnett trying to score away, the special team player of the week. A 78-yard punt return on Monday nearly broke that one loose. Well, we talked to Armando Sewell about that memorable fumble recovery.
I remember just running, chasing down the play on the backside, and I seen a ball popped out of Jabari Arthur's hand. That was my old college teammate, and I picked it up, and I heard Chris yelling at me, hand me the ball. So I just stretched it across the field a little bit. I knew he was behind me, so I just handed behind him and saw the guy in front of me and flattened him.
John White trying to take off it off the left side. He's a little more adept with carrying the football than Armando Sewell.
He told me yesterday that he was a running back in high school, which is really hard to get your head around at 6'4", 288 yards. That was back at Hargrave Military Academy in Chatham, Virginia. But you could see he has some ball handling skills as he went behind the back and then just flattens Brad Sinopoli, as he described to us a second ago.
Kerry Cook has been shaken up on that last play, getting attention. Cook with a touchdown for the Eskimos in each of the last 3 games. One, I think it was the first of that 4-touchdown rally that we might not have got our attention as much as the next 3, but let's see what happened to Kerry Cook.
Gets rolled on the left knee from behind. He's working on his defensive back, trying to make blocks. Just been coming on strong too. Last 4 games for Kerry Cook, over 300 yards. You mentioned the touchdowns. He's working in tandem with Fred Stamps. Has been excellent.
Coach to his feet, and suddenly even more timely the return of Darius Bowman.
Absolutely. I was about to mention that they're excited about to get a Darius Bowman back in the lineup. Wanted to work him in slowly because he hasn't played in such a long time. Injured last year, blew out that knee, and then came off the 9 game. Thought they'd work him in as this game progressed, but with Kerry Cook coming out, number 4 goes right back into that huddle.
Cook 11th in the league in receiving at the halfway mark of the year. John White, 7 yards, so it's 2nd and 3 for the Eskimos. Back into the hands of White. He'll get the first down. Up to the 52, pulled down by Junior Turner, the Bishop product.
Let's take a look at some of the Calgary defenders to watch tonight. I thought Brandon Smith in the matchup on Fred Stamps played outstanding on Monday. Juwan Simpson had a pair of sacks, and man, Charleston Hughes continues to get better. It's just amazing how well he's been playing.
Beat John White the football again across midfield down to the 52. That Calgary defense without Jamar Wall in the rematch. Darius Brooks takes his spot at defensive halfback, but it was a monster performance by Hughes.
3 sacks on Monday. His total is now 8. You add an interception to that, plus all the pressures and hurries. He just plants his tent in the backfield of the opposition.
Great feature on him in the pregame. 6 for John White as the Eskimos try and establish a ground game. Little shovel inside to Calvin McCarty and not going anywhere. Cordero Law was there to snuff out that play.
Cordero Law is playing opposite Charleston Hughes, and you've got to believe that as teams continue to look at Hughes, Law on the backside of those plays is going to start to make more and more plays as the season goes on. If you got to double team a guy or get some help over on Hughes, Cordero Law is free to go on his one-on-ones.
Punt situation.
Ball's gone,
Shaw
let it go,
looking
let it
for a deeper kick. Taylor inside the 5. Taylor, the leading punt returner in the league, up to the 14-yard line.
Surprised he played that.
Yeah.
Standing right on about his 2-yard line. Usually the rule of thumb is any time you're inside the 10, you let the ball bounce, see if it goes into the end zone, give up a point, get the field position.
He does lead the league in punt return yards and kick return yards, and yet Calgary really hasn't had a big return, and maybe he's pressing, looking for one. So Calgary will start at the 14-yard line. And the direct snap to John Cornish off the right side. Cornish, who had games of 185 and 180 yards rushing against Edmonton last year, just 69 yards from scrimmage on Monday.
Yeah, Edmonton defense did a nice job against the run on Monday. It was the 2nd lowest total for Calgary all season long, the lowest against Saskatchewan in a game that they lost. So they did control and contain John Cornish. Looks moving a little bit better here in the rematch.
41 yards in this opening quarter for Cornish. And now the pitch to Cornish, cuts it back. And up across the 30-yard line.
Well, Levi Mitchell can get Cornish going and really help him out. And here's a quick look at him. I mentioned Eastern Washington. Was at Eastern Washington, but also transferred there from SMU. 37 touchdown passes is a school record in 2010. And signed with the Calgary Stampeders back in 2012, and many are saying now it may just be the quarterback that Calgary protects in the expansion draft, which is interesting.
Stay on the ground on 2nd down. Good collision there, and Cornish able to spring forward for another first down.
Has not thrown an interception either. When you think of the 6 games that Bo Levi Mitchell has played in, one of those a start. But Dave Dickinson will stay on the ground until the Edmonton Eskimos stop the run.
Cornish averaging over 100 yards per game in his 8 starts coming into tonight. 34 yards on the ground so far for number 9. And now the Stampeders go 6 receivers. Mitchell steps up, takes off, and hits the deck with Rennie Curran and Eric Samuels waiting to greet him.
Remember on Monday, John Cornish was coming off a game that he missed. He didn't play the week before the Labor Day game. And just that one game to get settled back in, get that game speed back, I think he looks sharper tonight. Looks like he's got more hop in that step from number 9. It could be trouble for that Edmonton defense.
Second and 5. Here's the pressure, and again, Mitchell will take off. He's got the first down. Tripped up by Curran, but they'll mark him close to the 50-yard line. So back-to-back runs by the 23-year-old quarterback. And another Calgary first down.
You know, he can run well. He moves well in the pocket, buys his time. I think watching that game back, his start on film, I saw a guy that was very composed for his age, can move around and get out there and scramble. He doesn't have a very good average because he's a short yardage quarterback for Calgary as well.
Really does look like the complete package, doesn't it? The direct snap, and Cornish had trouble finding the handle, and he'll be dropped for a loss. Back at the 44-yard line, as that play was in trouble from the get-go.
Well, the downside, just like the downside to a shotgun situation for a quarterback, is that the running back, he wants to get his eyes up the field to see where he's going to hit the hole. And when he does that and doesn't secure the ball first, that can happen. Snap wasn't too far off. It was just Cornish took a peek.
The loss of 5, second and 15, and early movement on the line.
Legal procedure. Calgary, number 62 and 63. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Edwin Harrison playing his first game off the 9-game DL. And John Gott both flinched early. And lost in all of the attention on the Eskimo offensive line. John Hufnagel wasn't particularly happy with his big men on Monday. Wanted a better push and a better run game. Looks like, for the most part, he's got it so far. And a play in the corner. Trouble there, though. And down goes Boley by Mitchell. Marcus Howard gets home.
Marcus Howard's been shot out of a cannon in that first quarter.
Final play of the opening quarter. A fumble by Kerry Cope led to a Calgary touchdown. And after 15 minutes in the Labor Day rematch, it's 7-0 Stampeders.
Oh, they're not letting this one slip away early on and battling here. Mike Riley with the big 30-yard run. And what the Calgary Stampeders see John Cornish with 29 yards in that first quarter, had just 60 in the entire game on Monday.
You know, this is the most grueling game of the year coming off a game on Monday. Can you pound it for 4 quarters as on the ground?
Well, what we've witnessed in the past, Chris, as you know, is that the first quarter you go on adrenaline, and both these teams will play physical in this game because of the rivalry. But in that second and third quarters, when the fatigue starts to kick in, that's why early start and trying to keep pace for Edmonton is crucial here against the Calgary team with such a superior record.
It's also why this game's so much fun. It is very unpredictable. As the game wears on, the mistakes start to show, and it can get wild. Joe Burnett fields it at the 32-yard line, and cover team down in a hurry. D. Aguilar's there again. Well, Mike Riley gave us a finish on Monday. Almost the greatest comeback in CFL history.
Started with Kerry Cope, as you mentioned. He found John White on a nice touchdown throw where he did the work in the open field. Got one to Matt Carter over the middle, and then Fred Stamps, and you're right, came to within 3 points, and not for a Brandon Smith knockdown on the final, on a third down gamble, would have been in field goal range to tie that.
Riley's lost the services of Kerry Coke here tonight. Had just 34 net yards in the first half and did not have any passing yards in the third quarter. Look out! He's going down again. Junior Turner gets to the quarterback.
Junior Turner's first sack in the 2013 season. And it's a covered sack, and he'll have to go back there and just thank his defensive backs, because Riley had plenty of time initially. But 23 is down in the three-point stance here, and he just keeps working around the corner. And you can count the steamboats yourself as there's little play action. He's got time to throw, time to throw, time to throw, and then Junior Turner gets there.
Todd Chambers in the flat gets back to the original line of scrimmage. There's Brandon Smith, the 6-year veteran defensive halfback. It's a 2-and-out for Riley and the Eskimos. Well, the starts have been an issue. The first halves have been a problem. 75 points in the first half of games this year. The Stampeders have more points in the second quarter of games this year than Edmonton in all of the first halves. Shaw's punt and Taylor from the 21. Got a little room here. Going to get outside and then is taken down by Samuels with flags flying. 52-yard Shaw punt. And indications aren't going against Calgary.
During the run back, illegal block. Calgary number 14, 10-yard penalty. First down.
So Bo Levi Mitchell and the Stampeders will be back at work on offense when we return. Yard line. Early second quarter, up by 7. Up to Mitchell and then drops it off underneath, and Munoz rallies to the football and brings down Cornish.
Marcus Howard is getting off the ball. I would take you back to the last play of the first quarter, and Howard working on the 315-pound Stanley Bryant at tackle, and watch him get off the ball and with one arm throw 66 aside and get that sack. That's his first of the night. On that last play, a bull rush off the edge here on Dan Faderkyle puts him right in the lap of Bo Levi Mitchell.
Looks like the guy that had 11 sacks in 2011. Second down over the middle of the pass is dropped. Incomplete. Greg Carr unable to hang on in tight coverage, and TJ Hill was on the scene.
Yeah, TJ Hill gets the knockdown, and watch the hustle from 91 Marcus Howard as well. I mean, he's come fired up, because he's at right here in his end position. He's gonna go and stab here and then get all the way back and hustle just in case this ball is caught. Watch him sniff it out, take a look. 91 to the right of your screen will turn and get into that play as well.
So 3 2-and-outs for the Stampeders on offense. Maver. From the 36. Up to the 50. Return for Joe Burnett. Field position for Mike Riley. The green and gold when we come back.
See 66 wins there, well over 500 in his 100 games coached so far. I talked to Mo Price about John Huffnagel. He said it's interesting, the message that he exudes to his team this season is, I'm tired of being a successful regular season coach. We're tired of being a successful regular season team. They want playoff wins. 4-3 in his coaching career in the playoffs, and at this stage, that's what matters to this head coach.
White again lowers his shoulder, gets near midfield. He wanted his team to enjoy the win Monday, but was critical of some careless mistakes that made it more interesting than it should have been.
Yeah, well, basically, emphasizing to his team that they learned a lesson in the second half of the fourth quarter on Monday, that they didn't have to learn the hard way, because they did end up winning the game by 3, but those mistakes have to be eliminated.
Great road record, 30-20 coming into this game. Second down for Riley. Looks back for Stamps. Got it in stride. And a touchdown saving tackle by Brandon Smith. But Fred Stamps has another big Eskimo catch.
Just 2 catches for Stamps against primarily Brandon Smith in the Labor Day matchup. And Fred Stamps is the go-to guy when Riley starts to scramble. Stamps is going to just break off his route and the play call. He's the short crosser right to the right of your screen, and as soon as Mike Riley got in trouble, he tried to find number 2.
Back to White. is running hard tonight in the early going. Take another look at Fred Stamps and his 22nd second down conversion catch. Best in the league.
Great touch on the throw, too, because Brandon Smith was very close, actually in the hip pocket of Stamps, who comes up with the catch anyway.
John White with 4 on first down. Will Stamps be the target again here? Eskimos have moved it down to the Calgary 24, but moved prematurely, and they'll have to march back 5.
Started the game on Monday, Stamps did, with an uncharacteristic drop on a deep ball. And then
Offside. Edmonton number 4, 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
And then came back and had those 2 catches for 40 yards. And he was the target on that third down gamble to put Edmonton in field goal range to try and tie it. And Brandon Smith got the knockdown in what was a great matchup to watch on Monday.
7-year vet against 6-year defender. Stamps the leader in the league in receiving despite missing a game. So 2nd and 10. White releases. Riley in as he threw, and it falls short. Incomplete.
Mike Riley hit just as he delivers.
He's, in this game, taken fewer hits than we've seen in the past 4 or 5. And we haven't talked a lot about Charleston Hughes other than talk about what he did last week. But let's take a look at it. Is Hughes that gets through.
Micah Johnson, the defensive tackle, with pressure inside as well. And so Hugh O'Neill will come on to attempt a 35-yarder. 3 for 4 as an Eskimo. And he has missed that. The U of A product with a miss from 35, and the Eskimos will settle for 1. 7-1 Stampeders.
Amanda Lekelt on September 28th. She'll celebrate her 100th birthday. Now, her only birthday request was tickets to tonight's game. She's been a passionate Eskimos fan since the 1950s. Tonight's game rekindles many fond memories of coming to the games with her husband on date night.
That's amazing stuff. Here's a pass intercepted. Chris Thompson's got it. Levi Mitchell intercepted by Chris Thompson. And the Eskimos defense has its first pick since August the 2nd.
Not really a Calgary receiver all that close to Chris Thompson. And did the pressure in front of him just throw Bo Levi Mitchell? Because you see Marquay McDaniel is about 10 yards away. Maurice Price is the guy running one-on-one on Chris Thompson, jams him up at the line, and then that ball just overthrown. Now, possibly Maurice Price just broke off his route when he got jammed.
First interception thrown by Mitchell on the year. Thompson's got his 2nd. And now Mike Riley to work. Over the middle. And it's Marcus Henry down inside the 10.
Looked like that ball got tipped in the line, but still found its way to Marcus Henry. Little play action, and it was tipped.
Concentration by Henry, and now White with a cutback, nifty run. Now near the 1-yard line. Well, this is the guy that was advertised, John White out of Utah, who set school records, over 1,500 yards rushing in his senior year. Career 14 100-yard rushing games. Only 97 yards coming in, but 8 for 50 here midway through the 2nd quarter.
This could be interesting too, Chris. In this situation throughout the first half of the season, Kerry Joseph has come in short yardage. You see Kavis Reed talking to offensive coordinator Doug Sams right now. And there has been a change up in how they will call some of the critical plays in the game. Part of their general manager Ed Hervey's press conference on Tuesday, when Hervey called out Simeon Rotier, as Ryan Rashog mentioned in the first quarter. But he also talked about some critical play calling, and that while it's business as usual for the most part in the game, which means Doug Sands will communicate with Mike Riley, that he wanted Kavis Reed more involved, and Kavis Reed will call some more of the critical plays, and this would be one of them.
Keon Raymond injured and being helped to the sidelines, the Stampeder strong side linebacker. One of the veteran leaders on the Stampeders has to go to the sidelines.
And they're leaving Riley in there.
And almost consistently this year from inside the 3, it's been Kerry Joseph. Second down, John White, hand off, and White is in for the touchdown.
Commit to the run. Will help you in protection. Gets the Edmonton Eskimos their first major score of the night.
First rushing touchdown for White, who had a receiving touchdown on Monday.
Now I could hear some of the skeptical Edmonton fans suggesting that the shotgun may not be the best position for this down on the goal line, the 1 yard line, but when it works, it's a good call.
And O'Neill, the extra point that gives the Eskimos their first lead against Calgary in 4 games between the two teams. Odell Willis with congratulations for John White.
Well, I was wondering about this shotgun formation on the 1 yard line, but with Mike Riley in the game, it gives Edmonton the option to throw the football out of that position, and it keeps that Calgary defense guessing a little bit.
Also gives him the ride and decide option.
That's right. Sometimes all you need is a half-second hesitation from the defensive line.
Mom, I love you. Love you, Dad. Love you, Khalees. New baby boy. Love you, Mariah. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
With an impact in place of the injured Hugh Charles, who misses his second consecutive game.
Let's go. We
Fired up
baby.
on
Let's
that
go.
green and gold sideline.
Scavengers, baby. Let's go. I see you back at home, baby.
You have to believe with what we heard yesterday that Kavis Reed made that call, that he will be making some of the critical calls in the game offensively.
Shaw the boot. Larry Taylor the return. And up across the 30 for Taylor. Corbin Sharunin on the tackle, and see how Bo Levi Mitchell bounces back after his first interception of the year.
Well, and this, Chris, it's a good point, because it's the first time that Bo Levi Mitchell in his young career has had to bounce back from throwing an interception, try and get that out of his mind so he doesn't second guess and hold the ball a little bit too long in this series. Often that's what young quarterbacks will do after a pick.
Well, both teams have scored off turnovers in the game, or after turnovers. Back into the hands of Cornish. Plowing up near the 39, or a Massillon helps take him down. An intriguing sidebar story this week. Cornish suggested that Edmonton players had been told that he was boasting he'd rush for 200 on Labor Day, something he said he never stated, and accused Kavis Reed of throwing that out there to get his team charged up. Reed said he didn't say anything of the sort. Second and short. Went for 200 here. John Cornish with his best run of the game all the way down to the 41.
It looks like the John Cornish that we're used to watching tonight. And maybe just needed that one game again to get that game speed, but boy, he accelerates through the hole like very few backs. He's got that low body angle, and that small cut right at the line of scrimmage bounces him and puts Rennie Curran in a chase position.
7th carry of 20 plus for him this year, 29, and averaging 9 in the game when he was just over 3 last week. Big pitch to Walter, and instead it's Sinopoli, and he'll get dragged down by Joe Burnett.
Second to Maurice Price on Monday. Receiving with 5 catches for 80 yards for Brad Sinopoli.
Looks like he's played receiver most of his career, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, a nice big target. Understands route running because of his experience as a quarterback and route combinations, so he can work in tandem with any one of the receivers for Calgary and put together some nice numbers as a receiver, and is still the 4th and emergency quarterback should Calgary need him. Took some snaps this week at the quarterback spot.
Got 7 second and 3 in the big fly sweep to Price, and Courtney dragged down. Any flag?
Masa Munoz got there quickly. It looked a half step too quickly.
Yeah. I think the Eskimos got away with one here.
Let's take a look one more time. He's lined up at the middle linebacker spot, matched up on Cornish, so he's got him in man. He steps to the right where he picks him up underneath, and that was a little bit too soon, but they got away with it. And that's been called before on that push from Marcus Howard as well.
So here's Rennie Paredes to come in and try and give Calgary the lead once again, and he does. Nearly perfect on the year. Now 27 of 28 to put the Stampeders back in front.
Played a nice draw on that one. Looked like that was wide off his foot, and then it just sort of curved in there nicely.
Sound like you've got a little golfer's envy there.
Yeah. Mine don't go that way.
And
if there's a lake, I'll find it.
3 for 3 last week, including his 100th career field goal, and on the money there. Eskimos opt to take the football at the 35. Under 5 minutes left here in the opening half. There you go. Right, and ball in the hands of Marcus Henry. Raymond erased with a big block, and Henry down the sidelines into Calgary territory and the Stampeder 52-yard line.
Marcus Henry gets a start out on the right side of the formation here, and like running backs like Cornish and players like that we've seen, he just basically comes and shoots out the left side, so he's tough to get in that cover position because you're in a trail, you're chasing him to the outside to the sideline. Gets a nice block from a Darius Bowman to pick up an extra about 10 yards on the play. Watch Bowman work back, sees the ball caught by his teammate, steps up and picks off Keon Raymond.
And now a throw just out of the reach of Darius Bowman that Riley would like back. And it'll be 2nd and 10. Just show you what happened on that last incompletion.
A little half roll as they start to move the launch point. Yeah, wide open Darius Bowman, and ball just a little high for him.
Bowman off the 9-game disabled list, but has been working out with the team for a few weeks now, and they thought he'd be up to speed. 2nd and 10, pressure on, and drop. Charleston Hughes has another sack, and now 39 has 9 on the year.
Well, guess where he went through too? The change at right guard, because Miles Mason moves out for Simeon Rotier here, and right in behind here is Charleston Hughes, who's going to work his way into that gap. And you can see 39 run right by Miles Mason.
So Shaw to kick it away. Taylor on the hop, and he'll get hit out of bounds, and they'll mark him out at the 24.
Calm down.
Charleston Hughes climbing up the all-time list for the Calgary Stampeders in the sack department. He's 45 now and closing in on Stu Laird.
Pass to Londra Johnson on Monday. He's got a way to go to get to Will Johnson. What a great career he had at defensive end.
4th among current players in sacks, behind Anwar Stewart, John Bowman, and Karan Williams. So putting together a pretty nice resume.
Here's the hitch into the hands of Price, who did all the damage after the catch last week. Contained up to the 34 that time. And that will bring us to the 3-minute warning here in the Labor Day rematch. Stampeders with the lead and the football when we come back. 3 minutes remaining here. Chris Sweet addressing the offensive line with more. Here again, Ryan Rashog.
Yeah, Chris, he went absolutely ballistic on the sidelines. After that sack, Mike Riley walked over to the sideline, slammed his fist down on a table, gathered the offensive line around, then slammed the Sharpie marker down onto the whiteboard, then walked away and came back. And this is the way you see him pleading with his offensive line. So a lot of stress and tension around this Eskimo offensive line.
Short yardage team is in for Calgary, and Drew Tate hands it off. Ball is popped loose. Matt Walter the fumble, and do the Eskimos have it? That's the way they're signaling, and it is Edmonton football. Damaso Munoz up with it.
Interesting decision to put Drew Tate in the game in a short yardage situation there. Guy who hasn't taken snaps in some time due to injury to his passing arm. The handoff looked good. It was the hit. I believe Ted Laurent put the helmet right on the ball. The handoff looked clean.
You're right, Laurent with the hit, and Munoz is up with his second fumble recovery of the year, and there is an injured Stampeder on the play.
But it's a tough situation for John Hufnagel. Bo Levi Mitchell is the starter right now, and if he got injured, who do they go to? Because Drew Tate still got that sore arm, and it's his passing arm, has really not thrown that many footballs at all during the work week, is really not ready to play. Kevin Glenn had the bad knee on Monday, not quite ready to go, although could be forced into action, and Brad Sinopoli could be that fourth choice, so they take Bo Levi Mitchell out on short yardage.
4 fumbles for the Stamps Monday, and a fumble here that gives the Eskimos great field position, but John White contained on that first down run.
Now, Sinopoli did take snaps at quarterback this week in the short work week in this rematch, and I'm sure that Hufnagel does not want to have to go there, but the point being that in order to take a couple of hits off of Bo Levi Mitchell, they go with Drew Tate. Interesting.
Second and a little longer than 10, and he drifts the needle to Fred Stamps, and Raymond can't believe that ball got to Stamps.
Well, Stamps has got a lot of attention. He's got Keon Raymond coming underneath. He's got Brandon Smith covering him, and he's got Eric Fraser over the top, and that needle is thread right to him.
Just the usual coverage on the leading receiver in the league. Look at White bounce around, looking for something, and it's closed down as Charleston Hughes arrives to take down White.
You know, Fred Stamps and I had a conversation yesterday, and I asked him about the coverage on Brandon Smith. He said it was a great matchup. You know, great players love when they're challenged, and Brandon Smith challenged him on Monday, and you could see him running the route there coming inside. Now, that's a running play, and he's trying to just keep Brandon Smith away. But he said he also saw extra attention from safeties and Keon Raymond.
2nd and 9. Riley to the wide side. Bowman pulls it down. And he gets taken down by the corner, Fred Bennett. Short of the first down. And so Hugh O'Neill and the field goal unit will be called upon.
Boy, Stamps had a corner route there and had Mike Riley taking a quick peek to his #1 receiver. Might have had some.
So this will be from 24 yards out after O'Neill missed his first. And he has missed again.
Wow.
Well, Grant Shaw has struggled at times this year. O'Neill got the call. And after a good start, he has missed 2 that he should have had. And the Eskimos continue to trail.
Talking it over with Kerry Joseph, and just missed opportunity. First of all, on the play, they have a wide open Fred Stamps in the end zone, and Riley doesn't see him. I want to show you that one more time quickly. Now Riley wants to go outside because it's 9 yards. He feels like Darius Bowman can get there, but Stamps up in that left corner is wide open in behind everybody. Not often he's going to be dropped like that.
Is that a product of being hit so often, getting the ball out as soon as possible?
Yeah, he got that one out to the outside. It could be.
So 2 misses by O'Neill. And now Mitchell throws in the flat, and Jabari Arthur has the catch. Thompson will tag him down at the 43. 8 yards for Jabari Arthur. Well, Grant Shaw looks like he may be next to attempt a field goal for the Eskimos.
Well, Cavis Reed talked to Hugh O'Neill immediately upon arrival at the sideline, and they're talking it over with Kerry Joseph, who's the holder in field goals, and it may be that O'Neill's not seeing the football the way he'd like to. Grant Shaw staying loose.
2nd and short. A fake, and now Cornish can't hang on. Would have had the first down. Munoz was in the trail position, but it's a punting situation for Calgary with 89 seconds left on the clock.
Hugh O'Neill came off, and Cavis Reed if you can read lips, said, get Grant warming up in Grant Shaw.
Gave Eskimos 10 seconds too many. Math not my strong suit. 79 seconds left. But there will be some time for Edmonton to maybe get it in Grant Shaw range. Joe Burnett has his way. Good return by Burnett. Tim St. Pierre, the former Eskimo, with the special team tackle. So just over a minute left before GMC 5.5. Coach's playbook. Olaf Elise will drop the John Cornish touchdown, and the panel will go through 3 downs, and Cavis Reed might be part of the subject matter tonight.
Not surprised the coach wants to draw up that perfectly executed screen to John Cornish. Seems like a long time ago now.
Riley Chambers has the catch and lunges forward, and looks like may have it up for a first down. It will be a first down near midfield.
See if the tongue lashing the offensive line got from Chris Sweet on the bench, as Ryan mentioned, will help in the final seconds of this half here. Nice throw and catch on first down. See if the O-line can hold up here.
If they do, Chris Sweet may have to talk to Hugh O'Neill. John White surges through, second level, and White has a first down run, crashing down to the Calgary 41.
Nice block up front by Alex Krosnick, the center. He steps up, makes a nice block, so he heard the message. That's really the block that sprung John White.
67 yards on the ground for White in this opening half. First and 10, pressure on again. And guess who is there again? 6 quarters and now 5 sacks. And another look of dismay from Chris Sweet.
Thaddeus Coleman is the guy working on him, I believe, number 68. It's Charleston Hughes. Lines up in that 2-point where he's standing straight up, working on the left tackle, who drops him to step outside.
So Calgary with 11 sacks in a game and a half against Edmonton, and Hughes has 5 of them. 2nd and 14, looking for another, and they got another. All the way back on the other side of midfield. Back-to-back sacks for Calgary.
And all but the first second or 2 of that play, Chris, I thought that Mike Riley looked straight at the pass rush from the rest of the play on. And that's what taking the hits will do to a quarterback. You start to get your eyes down on the rush rather than downfield and your possible targets. You can see they line up at 3-man pressure, Calgary does, but they don't bring 3, they bring 4. Now they have 6 blockers in and can't pick it up.
So 2 for Cordero Law, the other defensive end, wreaking havoc for Calgary. There'll be a 5-yard, no yards as McDaniel scooped it up with Eskimos in that area, and Sharon and Matt Walter have words.
Well, that's the frustration on the bench and the frustration with Ed Hervey with his offensive line.
Edmonton number 55, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Chris, when you have the 2-man advantage, you have 6 blockers, including John White, who was left in the block on that play against a 4-man pass rush, should win that battle. At least give your quarterback chance to get the ball out there somewhere.
But we are establishing it's not just Simeon Rotier.
No question.
Well, it's animated on the Eskimo bench, and surely during halftime as the Stampeders will run out the clock. They have the lead. Couple of costly misses by Hugh O'Neill keep Edmonton on, or keep Calgary on top by 1. Stampeders 10-9 at the half as we join Dave Randorf.
Along with Paul LaPolice and the GMC Coaches Playbook, you know, as a member of the Coaches Union, you have got to feel sorry for Chris Sweet right now.
Yeah, the O-line coach is getting on TV. Usually not a good thing when they're showing the O-line coach.
And tonight, definitely not a good thing. Let's talk a little bit more about this. Speaking of the coaches, Ed Hervey said earlier in the week that Doug Sam's offensive coordinator was not going to be calling any plays. Kavis Reed says, yes, he will. I will call the critical plays, leaving everybody to question, well, what's critical and what's not here? Yeah. I mean, in the heat of the moment, on the sidelines, take us there. Is this a recipe for disaster with communication?
No, I don't think it is, because I think a lot of people don't have this understanding. As a coach, these game decisions, the ball is inside the 6-yard line. These decisions are made, Dave. They're made 2 days ago. They talk about what they're going to call. They all sit down, have conversations. Obviously, you can see right there, Kavis is somebody who's an emotional guy on the sidelines. He's really letting them know, you know, whether he likes that play or not. But it's something that they've already talked about on the schedule.
So you don't read any confusion into those pictures we see?
No, I worked with Kavis. He's yelling all the time.
Okay. Let's talk about the Calgary touchdown by the league leader in touchdowns. John Corner scored on one of your favorite plays. Take us through it.
Yeah, they ran a great screenplay early in the game. And what you're trying to do there, you're trying to slow down the rush of Edmonton, because Edmonton was rushing the passer very well early on. You're going to see motion across the formation to put 4 receivers to the field. That gets the corner over to the field. All you have left is a fullback and the Sam linebacker, the strong side linebacker who's playing over the fullback. He releases outside, takes now the Sam out of the picture. Now on the screen pass, this is great. You're going to have the fullback, the tailback's going to be taken, the tackle's going to take the tailback's man, excuse me. Then you have a guard as an alley player who's going to come up the alley. Great execution with the slide screen, throw it back to John Corner.
The week, certainly in Edmonton, the comments of Ed Hervey, very critical of his whole team, and specifically one player, Simeon Rotier. Dave Naylor, CFL insider, reporting that there is a little-known clause in the current CBA that the PA is saying, you can't publicly do that. You can't call a guy out, and we want him fined. So first down is, should Ed Hervey have been disciplined in some form by the CFL? Yes or no, Milt?
I'm going to say yes, but I'm also going to say I don't agree with this rule. I was a PA rep for 10 years, and if this rule was in existence when I was playing, I surely don't remember, and I definitely don't agree with this rule.
I'm saying B, no, he's running his own team. To me, this is a situation where fine or no fine, sometimes you got to break the rules to do what you need to do in order to get your attention to your football team.
I'm going to say A, players cannot talk derogatorily about coaches or management, and the same respect should go in the reverse.
Checking on derogatorily.
I tried.
We'll get back to you on whether or not that's a word. Second down has to do with the Toronto Argonauts. There's rumors that they could be signing a new lease to play at the Rogers Centre, or that they might strike a deal with Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment to potentially play at BMO Field. So second down, what should the Argos do about their stadium arrangements? A, stay at the Rogers Centre, share BMO with TFC, or try somehow, some way to build a new stadium? Schultze.
Well, Dave, as you know, sometimes I do live in a fantasy world, but man, would I like to see David Braley build a new stadium. I want to go see. That's what I want.
Schultz, see, I know you live in a fantasy world. You teed yourself up for that one, my man. I'm going C. Share it. It should have been incorporated that way from the beginning. It's a beautiful facility. It's great sightlines for everybody. CFL should be there as well.
I'm with you, Matt. Share. You just have to stretch it out a little bit more, the width, the length, and you have a perfect CFL field.
Sometimes lives in a fantasy world. Third down is in regards to news that came out earlier on Friday, and the Canadian college draft eligibility rules for non-import players. Basically, if you play on the CIS, you are now eligible after 3 years. If you play in the States, NCAA or NAIA, you are not eligible until after your senior year, so no more redshirt juniors. Third and final down is, how do you feel about the CFL changing the eligibility rules for the draft? A, it's about time. B, won't change the number of guys who go to the NFL. Or C, it hurt the CIS by losing more players. Milt?
I'm going to go with B. Guys play football. Why? To earn a living, to make money. You can make more money wearing the NFL. It won't change. Guys will try the NFL if they can.
I'm going to say A, it's about time. It clears up the draft, and you will now be drafting on a need basis, and you'll know what you get in training camp.
I'm with you, Matt. Clarity, clarity, clarity. If you're going to invest in the player, you got to know that that player is interested in your organization as well. I'm going with A. It's about time.
More and more great Canadian players being produced north of the border all the time. That is 3 downs. Here's a Canadian player for you. John Connor scoring the 10th touchdown of his season, just the second through the air, and it is 10-9 Calgary.
And Simeon Rotier has paid off. The Calgary Stampeders are all over Mike Riley. Not
One-point game as we head to the second half on Friday Night Football, but first to the sidelines. Ryan Rashog with Kavis Reed.
Kavis, the pressure on the offensive line coming into this game seemed tremendous. Mike Riley's been hit a few times again tonight. We had a coach lose it a little bit on the sidelines. How is the head coach? Do you try and settle this situation down?
We're going to go about running the ball. We're having tremendous success running the football. We're going to stick with that, and hopefully our offensive line will continue to progress in terms of protection. We'll add some guys in, we'll change the launch point and get some consistency.
You pushed the ball downfield a couple of times and haven't come away with the points that you would have liked. What has to change there, and are you making
Rob Maber to punt it away. easing back about his 21. And he's brought down at the 29-yard line. Matt Walter on the tackle. Eskimo football when we return to Commonwealth. Well, these back-to-back games after Labor Day take their toll, and with an injury update, here's Ryan.
Yeah, Chris, the Stampeders could have used the services of running back Rob Cote on that opening drive of the half. They were stalled there, but he is done for the night with what the Stampeders are calling a shoulder injury. Also, wide receiver Kerry Coca went down earlier with what looked like a left knee injury. We were told he was reassessed at the half and that he was unlikely to return. He did not come back out, so the Eskimos a little short-handed at the receiver position as well. Chris?
And a change to start the second half for the Eskimos. Brian Ramsey's in at right guard. Miles Mason on the bench. And Amos Reed told you they'd start running, and there's John White with a good first down run.
So they continue to juggle the offensive line. Yeah, Reed mentioned that we want to try and have the protection progress as it's going a little slower than they'd like. But in order to do that, get the run game going so that those offensive linemen can attack rather than sit back and pass protect. So Ramsey moves to that guard spot.
Now in short yardage, different alignment.
Get back out tight end.
2nd and 3. White again, and he's not going to get there. Closed down. Micah Johnson replacing the injured Kevin Huntley for the second consecutive week.
Deron Mayo scraped nicely from the linebacker spot as well, as he's going to come over here and just fill into that hole. You see 42 show up, slides in, scrape, 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 and he steps in there along with Micah Johnson. A little gang tackle.
So Taylor's back, and here's Shaw. Taylor trying to bust loose. Outside and angled out at the Eskimo bench. They'll mark him at the 42-yard line, and that's where the Stampeders, led by John Cornish, will scrimmage to start their next possession. Catch and a fumble recovered by teammate Stanley Bryant. Looks like they will.
Mentioned he had the 5 catches for 80 yards on Monday. He also had a fumble. And it never looked like he really did secure it after he caught it, but he held it long enough that this looks like he's got the correct ruling. Caught it, tried to turn,
Joe Burnett. And big Stanley Bryant vacuumed it up and bailed out the former Ottawa Gigi. 2nd and 10. Here comes Edmonton Heat. Mitchell gets it away. And a catch by Sinopoli to midfield and a first down.
This is where you see that Brad Sinopoli has the smaller points, those fine points that Milt Stiegel knows about, but that you would wonder if a guy as young as the receiver, as inexperienced at receiver as Sinopoli would know. But watch how he takes the final step back to the ball after this curl. He runs that little curl, now another step back, just in case that defender is right on his hip, just to create a little separation. Comes up with a first down catch. That's nice. 3rd catch tonight.
At the 55, here's the hitch to Price. And Mo Price brought down at the 51, short gain by the most dangerous target to the Calgary Arsenal on Labor Day.
Better sense of urgency from the Edmonton tacklers when it comes to number 17, I'm noticing tonight. He catches those little hitch passes. You're seeing more than one guy try to tackle him. The Edmonton Eskimo back end, when you're talking their secondary and linebacking core, flying over to 17, try and contain him.
side, and now he got Jabari Arthur, and Arthur gets loose. With the first down to the 29-yard line. Chris Thompson pulls him down, but Jabari Arthur's got a big 22-yard reception.
Bo Levi Mitchell is 23 years old, and this throw going back that way when he's rolling to his left should scare him. And it just doesn't seem to. I mean, rolls out, composed under pressure, against the flow of traffic, and you can get in big-time trouble doing that. He found Jabari Arthur.
First down, Stampeders. Into the hands of Cornish. That's the hole in a hurry, and a flag comes down at the end of the play.
Number 9, John Cornish. He's taken down in the 20-yard line. There is a flag.
Like Brett Jones was way downfield on that run.
Signal against the Stampeders.
And a holding call is going to bring it back.
4 yards were gained, holding Calgary number 63. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
And against Brett Jones, who is down the field. John Gott gets the call. Doesn't like it.
So that negates that good run by Cornish. A vintage Cornish run that we didn't see last meeting. On running current.
They grab him, twist him around.
So first and 20. It just sidesteps and Cornish can't bring it in. There was Munoz in the neighborhood. It'll be second and long.
Damaso Munoz in on the coverage. It's second and 20.
Greg Marshall, I'm sure, switched up the game plan. Did a nice job containing John Cornish on Labor Day. And then he had to talk to his secondary about some big plays and tackling on guys like Maurice Price. But this defense playing a lot better tonight than they did last week, especially against Price.
It was a later chapter in the Kirby Address on Tuesday.
Yes, it was.
That pass reaches Marquay McDaniel. His first catch of the night gets them back to the original line of scrimmage. So it'll be third down, and Paredes and the field goal team will come on.
A comfortable field goal range. Bo Levi Mitchell taking points in that plus situation, your plus territory, rather than try and force it on second and real long. He took the underneath. Edmonton gave him that. First catch for Marquay McDaniel is a little bit surprising in that he is the Stampeder leading receiver right now.
So from 33 out. And Paredes doesn't miss. And the Stamps extend the lead. Now up by 4. Early on Labor Day, a 2nd and 7 for the Edmonton Eskimos, and something you don't often see. A drop by Fred Stamps. With more on that story here. Again, Ryan Rashad.
Yeah, Chris, Fred Stamps was not happy with himself for that very uncharacteristic drop. He said on the bus ride back, Kavis Reed was watching the video on his laptop, and Fred peered over his shoulder and saw that play, said it made him sick to his stomach. He spent extra time over the next few days watching the video, breaking it down, extra time on the jug machine, practicing his catches. He's a perfectionist. That's why he's one of the best in the league. 2 for 41 so far tonight.
Quick hitter here to Marcus Henry. Goes out of bounds near the Calgary bench at first down territory at the 52-yard line. We had chatted with Kavis Reed about Fred Stamps the day before the Labor Day game, and he talked about an elite athlete getting into that even higher zone that Fred Stamps has been in most of this season.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I mean, Fred Stamps is one of those guys all time. I mean, had a good conversation with him about that drop as well.
There's that zone read, like quarterback option, fake to White and Riley to midfield.
And about his relationship with Mike Riley, who he is real high on. I mean, Stamps couldn't talk more about Riley and how when he got the phone call from Mike Riley before training camp, when Riley was basically told that it was, he goes into this competition, he got a call. Riley called all the receivers, said, he's just a guy I want to battle for.
Fred Stamps missed almost all of training camp. Too hard underneath length, and he'll be short of the first down. Fred Bennett denies Kuhorn first down yardage.
Riley and Fred Stamps have hooked up for 10 plays of 30 yards or more. So that deep threat is always possible. Those two can connect. And Stamps, again, believes that the franchise quarterback is in their locker room.
Taylor awaits around the 10-yard line. Grant Shaw trying to pin the Stamps, and again a short kick from about the same spot on the field, and this will bounce out at the 21. So Shaw twice has missed the pin, and he's not happy about it. But Marcus Howard's been dialed up here tonight. Eastern on HBO Canada.
Offense for Calgary has been basically John Cornish tonight. Go Levi Mitchell just 99 yards passing.
So the defense is getting a second look at the young guns. Made it a little more uncomfortable for people like Bo Levi Mitchell, Zach Flowers. Here's Cornish upended. Rennie Curran takes the feet out from under John Cornish.
6 tackles for Rennie Curran, who 17 tackles coming in since replacing J.C. Sherritt. Nice conversation with him. He's still learning the Canadian Football League game. He said it's a little different, not quite as much run-oriented, although tonight has been for Calgary, so he feels more in that comfort zone.
Was a tackling machine at Georgia, replacing the injured J.C. Sherritt, who had the pin removed from his broken thumb earlier in the week. Mitchell in trouble, and down he goes. Chris Robacumba was in there. They sent the corner on the blitz, and Mitchell hits the deck.
Rather than go to the opposite side of the formation, the corner, Chris Robacumba, is going to come in and line up in that linebacking core. And he does basically step up and come up and kind of weave his way through that mesh of players. And J.C. Sherritt out there pumped up, see his teammates step in there. And let's go down.
Joe Burnett fields it at the 46. He'll try and get outside and gets across midfield. Flags are flying, and Maver will bounce him out around the 30. But those flags, not a good sign for the Eskimo fans here.
I believe it was Corbin Sharun, number 39. And it's just as Joe Burnett was getting the corner.
During the run back, illegal block. Edmonton, number 86, 10-yard penalty. First down.
Well, they call Matt Carter.
Gives the ball back to the Eskimo 41-yard line.
Well, my apologies to Corbin, because he looked like he had got close to a clip on Tim St. Pierre.
So it brings the ball back to the Edmonton 41. Under 4.5 minutes left here in the third quarter. Out of the backfield, White can't make the catch. And Juwan Simpson there to make sure he doesn't hang on.
Just over a game and a half, Charleston Hughes has created havoc. 5 sacks on Mike Riley. 3 Labor Day Monday, a couple already tonight. And it just seems that number 39 can't be blocked.
One off the league lead of Alex Hall, who we will see Sunday in the Banjo Bowl in Winnipeg. Up against Saskatchewan. Riley hit as he delivered, and that duck will fall incomplete at the Calgary 50 as the heat continues to be turned up on the Edmonton quarterback.
DeMonte Bolden right through the middle that time. He just big charge for Boland. Down in that three-point stance. Watch him step up and just bull rush. Right through Cliff Lewis.
Another 2 and out. Shaw trying to sell it. Albert Cruz said no. And Larry Taylor dropped at the 32. And the fans showing their displeasure with the referee.
Jonathan Hefner was the closest. But I think the ref got it right. It didn't look like...
And actually, Hefner gets up limping. And did he make any contact with Crenshaw?
Once the leg's in the air, he can't contact the kicker. I think he went underneath his leg and did not touch Grant Shaw, who tried to sell it.
Shaw looking for a call, but a good no call by...
A confident throw. And maybe that gets Bo Levi Mitchell on a bit of a roll. As, again, Sinopoli bouncing inside, get a little bit more room for himself. Now he has a two-way go. He can go back to the out, or he can just sit down in that little hook, and he does that in front of Rabakamba.
You know, all the talk about what quarterbacks the Red Blacks are going to take. Very interesting if Brad Sinopoli is available in a former Ottawa University star. Markway McDaniel unable to make the catch. But Sinopoli, a 25-year-old guy with the ability to play quarterback, but now becoming an established receiver in the league. Does Calgary have the ability to protect him, or will he be a Red-Black a year from now? We're in Red-Black right now, but
that'll be interesting.
2nd and 10. Tim St. Pierre in at fullback for the injured Ron Cote. Levi Mitchell pass is complete. Clutch catch by Jabari Arthur. It's a first down Calgary just across midfield.
Well, this is the only place that Bo Levi Mitchell could put the ball and hope that Jabari Arthur could fight back to it. Because Arthur's going to run his route, and Chris Thompson's right there on the shoulder. Gets away with a little bit of a grab. Now look up close inside. So Levi Mitchell throws him outside and low and hopes to draw his receiver back to the ball. And he hangs on. That's a nice catch.
Just one catch on Monday, and that resulted in the fumble, as we showed you. Alonzo Siwa picked it up. Arthur keeping himself here. Hits to Price, and he gets outside. This time they stumble Price out of the reach of Rabakamba, and another Calgary first down.
Over a little play action. They've established John Cornish all game long. So now in this series, Bo Levi Mitchell going with play action, and they're going to try and force Chris Rabakamba to come up and make a tackle outside in, with Jabari Arthur trying to block him. Excuse me, Rabakamba was the higher one, the higher player, and he misses him going outside. Now Rabakamba's mistake there is to make him turn back inside where the pursuit is coming from.
15-yard gain, first down, and quick jump there. Looked like it was Dan Fader-Kyle, the right tackle, that moved ahead of the snap.
Legal procedure. Calgary, number 50, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Excuse me, Spencer Wilson. The right guard is the culprit.
It looks like, too, you were right on the tackle. He bumped him out, Chris, and that's where he's a little unsure and uncomfortable, I'm sure, against Marcus Howard.
And Fader-Kyle did leave the game late in the first half, so Wilson from guard out to right tackle, the former Calgary Colt. Pressure on Mitchell, throws back, and a flag comes down as Cornish made the catch and is down at the 40.
I think this is going to be against Calgary.
Holding, Calgary 63, 10-yard penalty.
John got the call. Of course, some injuries on that offensive line. Dimitri Supas on the 9 game. Michael Dean hurt, replacing Supas, and with Vader Kyle out of the game. More changes for the big guys up front.
And Edwin Harrison just returning, who hasn't played for a while, so maybe one of the reasons Boley might get his numbers down a little bit.
So first and 25. And the pass is caught by Cornish at the 47-yard line.
Right about now, in this game alone in the regular season, this rematch with just the quick turnaround that everybody's digging down real deep right here. Get ready for that fourth quarter push to try and get over, especially in a close game, how important this is for a struggling Edmonton team from Calgary to keep pace in the West with BC and Saskatchewan. And right now, I guarantee you their legs are getting heavy.
Second and 19, the hitch inside is Price, and he'll be stopped at the 40-yard line. And now John Hufnagel has a decision. 47-yard field goal attempt. Paradis' longest is 42. We'll find out if he gives him the green light. We're through 3 quarters here at Commonwealth. 4-point game as we head to the fourth quarter in Edmonton.
Well, clearly protection still an issue for Edmonton as their Calgary Stampeders continue to
And so it is 16-9 on the opening play of the fourth quarter.
And just a lapse in discipline there from Marcel Young that made it that much more easier for Rennie Paredes to build that 7-point lead, as you mentioned.
So the best, as Craig Marshall takes his veteran defensive halfback aside. The best fourth quarter team in the Canadian Football League. It sounds strange to say for a team 1-8. But here are the Eskimos, and stumbling there was John White as he got hit by the turf monster.
But you're right, Chris. This has been their quarter. I mean, a 1-8 team that has really put up some big points in the fourth quarter. Best in the CFL. Look at the difference for the Edmonton Eskimos. Now their issue has been they've been so far behind that the fourth quarter, even with big points like 4 touchdowns in half of the fourth quarter last week, haven't been able to get them the wins they're looking for.
2nd and 6, crosser, Chambers. And Shamad Chambers fumbled the football. They're ruling he's down and would have the first down.
Speed on the crosser from Chambers. Just going to come across from left to right in your screen. John White was a little shaken up, but he comes back in for this play because he was on the sideline. He didn't have to leave. And there's Chambers on that crossing route. And his knee was down before the ball came out.
Eskimos have outscored their opponents 105-56 in the fourth quarter. Just out of the reach of Chambers. Chris Randall on the corner was step for step.
Mike Riley went right to the officials and wanted a interference call on Randall, and I just saw the little bit of hand fighting down the sideline, and I think the coverage was bang on by Chris Randall. And right at the top of your screen there, watch Randall just down in that press position. Good feet, turns outside, little chuck, that's okay. Now the hand fighting, they're gonna let go. Little push from Shamad Chambers as well. That's perfect coverage.
2nd and 10. Sliding to the left side, Riley on the run, and he's got Bowman. First down at the Calgary 51-yard line. And Darius Bowman with the catch and a 15-yard pickup, his 3rd grab of the game.
Nate Couhorn's going to come in and help Mike Riley get the corner. Remember Kavis Reed? Look at Couhorn come in and try and kind of set it up so Riley can come outside. Remember Kavis Reed at the end of the half talking about getting the run game going in the second half and changing the launch point for Mike Riley, and that means getting him outside. So it does cut the field in half, but he does move that launch point, maybe get away a little bit from guys like Charleston Hughes and Cordero Law. So he gets it outside. Bowman has time to set up his route a little bit, breaks it off, and a nice throw and catch.
And another Stampeder injury as Fred Bennett got caught up with teammate Micah Johnson and continues to get attention. So we'll step out early, fourth quarter. Corner to move into that Stampeder secondary. First down, Edmonton. Calgary 50-yard line. Also being told Junior Turner is done for the night, so the injury's starting to mount for the Stamps. Finally a little fake. Wanted Stamps, and now he's going to take off. Cordero Law got a hand on him, but Riley lunging for another first down.
That's why his teammates rally around him, because he'll put it on the line. And he's doing everything he can to get to that first down marker. He's coming right into your living room. Gets there. 49 yards rushing tonight.
To the Stamps 38-yard line, first down. It's flushed and in some trouble, and they got tripped up and fumbled the football. It's picked up, and Keon Raymond's got it. Raymond out at the Eskimo bench, so Mike Riley gives it away. And see if he was down or not, but Keon Raymond, who has 5 career touchdowns on interception or fumble returns, has the football, and now the challenge flag does come out.
Kavis Reed threw it as soon as he saw the replay on the in-house monitor before.
Almost looked simultaneous knee down and almost kicked it out of his own hand with the other knee.
Was he touched? That's another question. It looked like he may have been tripped up, and that's what put him down there, and that knee touched.
That was Charleston Hughes again. Looked like he just got a hand on the ankle of Mike Riley. Or check that, Micah Johnson.
Yeah, Micah Johnson trips him, so he does get touched. So that would be ruled down by contact. It's just a matter of, did he lose possession before the knee hit or just after? There's the contact right there on the heel. That first right knee touches just before he loses the football, Chris.
A swat on the foot puts him off balance, and
see now the other knee is bumping the ball out.
The ruling on the field was the ball carrier was down by contact. It was down by contact.
So they're ruling him down by contact. So Kavis Reed didn't have to throw the challenge flag.
It didn't look like that was the original ruling, but one of the officials came in to say he had a good view of it, and the Eskimos will maintain possession. Now does John Hufnagel decide, I'm not sure. Is there enough either way to overturn whatever the call was on the field?
Yeah, I'm not sure he wastes the challenge here. I mean, he's kind of looking at the in-house monitor too. Now he'll get communication from upstairs.
Yeah, he's waiting for word because it was almost that simultaneous one knee down, the other knee kicking the ball out.
But he didn't lose it initially when the knee first made contact with the ball. Then kind of moved forward, fell forward, and then the ball came out. But the officials are still discussing it, even though Hufnagel has not challenged it. At least I haven't seen a challenge flag thrown. Oh, he's got it in his pocket.
I think they're going to try and determine where exactly Riley went down, because of course the return by Raymond was back at the Edmonton 43-yard line. Actually, the yard markers.
Ball will be placed on the 39-yard line. It will be second down.
Yeah, that's what they were looking at.
They do say the ruling on the field was contact down, but the yards markers were all in position for a Calgary first down, and now the chains have to move.
Now watch when the knee touches right there. Now he holds on to the ball for a second more, and we're going back. So the knee's down, second more, and then the ball falls out.
So the result, still trying to get the yardstick in the right place.
Calgary is challenging the ruling on the field. The play will be reviewed.
So you're going to take another look at it now. Again, it's the determination of when Riley actually loses the ball. So we see him being touched, and we see the knee touch the ground. But this one was delayed because everyone on the field, including us up here, believed that the ruling was a fumble and that Keon Raymond had the return. That was not the ruling on the field.
John Hufnagel might be arguing, my guy didn't even touch him.
But he did, right there on the heel.
Unless he tripped up over...
He took another step and a half.
Coleman. He might have gone down with contact from his big left tackle.
I was going to say, when you go back and take a look at that back end zone look, he did take another step and a half after being touched by Micah Johnson. So is that ruled down by contact there? When he's touched on the heel, he takes another step and a half and then trips on the back heel of his own player, of his teammate. Now the question is Mike Riley stumbling on the hit there? Or is he just continuing to run and starts to stumble there? Because it looks more like he stumbled when he clips Thaddeus Coleman. So that might not be even ruled down by contact yet, which means the ball came out on its own.
kick's one of the more interesting ones, and upon further review, I think Calgary's going to win this.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It will be second down.
Well, I stand corrected. Originally, I thought that was the right call, but after seeing it for a half dozen times, I think I saw what John Hufnagel saw. But the Eskimos maintained possession.
Well, and again, you know, I think with the knee, that part of the call was correct. And what they're ruling is that it was the continuation of that clip of the heel for Micah Johnson that caused Riley to go down, therefore down by contact, and his knee touched first.
All that for a Calgary sack. Loss of 1, second and 11, and the pass got to Bowman. Darius Bowman makes the grab, and there's an element that's going to enhance this Eskimo offense in the second half.
Had to fight for it. He had to work back for it. Because, again, it's thrown low with the coverage so tight. I believe it was Darius Brooks going to work on him. He has to do a speed turn, come back to the football. Look, Brooks cut underneath. Had as good a shot as any at that ball, but Darius Bowman wins the battle.
19 more for Bowman. Eskimos threatening. John White, jump cut. And down to the 10-yard line before Keon Raymond halts that run.
And Mike Riley all excited on these running plays. I mean, here's a guy who takes enough hits as it is, and he's going to just hand the ball. He's in behind the goalpost right here, but watch what he does after he hands the ball here to John White. He's going to, now you look to your left of your screen, he goes, okay, you know what? I'm not doing anything. I want to go down there and find somebody. Maybe I can block somebody or do something else. I mean, he's doing everything about sweeping the floor in the locker room to try and get a win for this team.
10, it's first and goal. Take the White, Riley on a roll. And he's going to take a big hit.
Oh, boy.
Raymond and Hughes. As Mike Riley thought it was open and then got into no man's land.
Keon Raymond stepped into that one. I mean, he must be a little frustrated, too, because Raymond thought he had a fumble recovery and a big play for Calgary. So he just took out his frustration with Hughes and Chase. He just great form tackle, shoulder right into the chest of Mike Riley.
That's all Riley needs right now after the punishment he's taken for the last few weeks. 10th play of the drive, it's second and goal from the 7. Stands in underneath, drop. White drops the football, took a look.
Unreal. This route was designed perfectly. You can see Cavis Reed. And they had John White wide open. He's going to come out like this to the flat, but then put the brakes on and come back inside. Something we haven't seen much from the Edmonton offense. It's almost like what's called a bang route. Go out like you're going to the flat, bang inside. He had the angle on Juwan Simpson and just left the ball behind.
So Hugh O'Neill, who's missed 2, hits from 14 to get a little confidence. And a mock cheer from the fans here. It's Calgary by 4. Just under 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Last 3 Labor Day rematches have been decided by 3 or fewer. John Cornish rips it straight ahead over Eric Samuels and across midfield. Big run for Cornish.
You know, one play can really turn a game, and I know the Eskimos just came away with a field goal, but Cornish's run here just grabs all the momentum on a drop from John White. And depending on what happens here as this drive continues for Calgary, this could be the game changer right just like that.
21 on that run, 92 on the game. Looking for his fourth 100-yarder. And now he'll grab the pass, and Munoz will collar him at the 39, but another Calgary first down back-to-back after the Edmonton field goal.
Yeah, let's show you the drop one more time from John White. And this is a 7-point play. White right here goes out, comes back inside. You're going to see how wide open he was. He catches the ball. He just has to lower his shoulder on Juwan Simpson. Right over the middle there. That's 7 points for Edmonton. John Cornish rips off a big one. 2 plays for Cornish later. And Calgary back in field goal range.
138 yards of offense for Cornish, who goes to the sidelines. Matt Walter in. And here's Walter dragged down by Oramacion. Donio the tackle on the all-time Calgary Dino leading rusher.
4-yard gain, 2nd and 6.
One thing I've admired about Bo Levi Mitchell, his game's been up and down a little bit in that Calgary offensive huddle tonight, Chris, but he's always showing that composure well beyond his years, even though the game is this tight. And he's using his running game, little play action, managing the situation well. For getting a guy that age, outstanding.
2nd and 6 and a pre-snap.
Timeout.
Timeout.
Calgary.
By the Stampeders.
Coaches,
Mitchell to the sidelines.
Coaches like John Huffnagel will tell you that that's where you want to look and see for quarterbacks, young guys, if the game and the moment or the situation becomes bigger than they can handle. As Kavis Reed alluded to with his kicking situation. Sometimes for a young player, the moment becomes bigger. But it just doesn't seem to happen for Bo Levi Mitchell. Even though his numbers aren't like his previous start against Winnipeg, where he was close to 400 yards passing. Very composed and under control, and the rest of the team will feed off of that confidence. Directing traffic back there.
2nd and 6. Pressure coming. Marcus Howard brings him down. 2nd sack of the game for Marcus Howard, who doubles his season output.
Well, and he's been doing this against tackles, but this time it's Matt Walter right from the bottom of the line here. The fullback's going to try and come on, take number 91 on, and that's going to be problems for Calgary. Now, Walter's a good blocker, but Marcus Howard, premier rush in, who's coming into his own right now this season.
Well, we wondered if John Huffnagel would try a 47-yarder. He sent out Paredes from 50 out, and again, his longest is 42. Interesting stop. Rennie Paredes has done it again. What a huge kick that is, and it's a 7-point lead.
Is it ever? Just money. We haven't seen coaches go away from the long field goal because of the ability to return. Wow.
By a converted touchdown now.
6-3 is reporting.
Initial drive here, Calgary. Fred Bennett back on that wide side corner.
And early movement. Like Miles Mason
Legal
back in at right guard.
Edmonton number 69. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
Flag goes against 69, Miles Mason.
Miles Mason has not had a stellar game tonight. We showed a couple times where gave up a sack to Charleston Hughes, although there's been a few that have done that over the last couple of games.
Blocked for John White at Utah. Kavis Reed called him a road grader. The run block his specialty. They've had some success tonight on the ground, but they need to make something happen. Riley called his own number, and that's not going to work. Taken down by Duron Mayo, the weak side linebacker of the Stamps.
Yeah, this is just film work, because he read this one immediately, was not fooled at all, and this looked like a called play. Duron Mayo lines up outside here. Just steps around the block of John White as if he wasn't there.
Throwing situation onside. And Bowman the catch, but contained there. Short yardage. Brought down by Darius Brooks. And an Eskimo 2 and out as we tick under 5 minutes to go.
Mike Riley has not been able to get the ball to Fred Stamps. Just 2 catches for him in this game, and he's been quiet in the second half.
And 2 on Monday. Big boot. Taylor back at his 22. Larry Taylor. One of his best returns of the year, up to the 49-yard line. 28 on that return.
That was such a big kick there that it almost out-kicked the coverage. And Larry Taylor has lots of time to gather that ball in before the first tacklers arrive.
8 kick return touchdowns in the league this year. Calgary, Saskatchewan, the 2 teams without one through the first half of the regular season. The Eskimo defense has been stingy tonight. As Bo Levi Mitchell done enough. We'll pull it down and take off. And he's got a first down. Lunging down to the 45, which means he's close to Paradis range again.
Edwin Harrison in his first game back, he gets the key block. He's in here at guard watching how he's going to come out and get down the field. Knows it's quarterback draw, so now he's got to get on to Rennie Curran right there. Seals the deal for Bo Levi Mitchell.
16 for the quarterback, and now the handoff to Cornish. And there's 6 more there for John Cornish on first down. And this offensive line's had so many changes because of injury. 1 more tonight.
Edmonton.
Eskimos are going to stop the clock before the 3-minute warning. Spencer Wilson now at right tackle, and Vader Kyle left the game in the second quarter.
Edwin Harrison goes in and plays that guard spot where Spencer Wilson started the game. There's Vader Kyle, and he is
Big second down play. Come on, let's bring the noise for your defense. They want to hear you.
on and off. Yep.
Over into Colt. So the clock stopped, and now the Eskimos need a stop. 2nd and 4. Calgary trying to extend this to a 2-score game. Well, option and a keep for Mitchell. And he should have the first down.
Well, run option, because with that option to pitch to John Cornish, Mitchell has a chance to just hold off that rush long enough, because Marcus Howard was the point of attack, and he's had a good game tonight. But he had to hesitate because he wasn't sure if it was going to be Cornish with the ball or Mitchell continuing on with it. We're going to take a look, but there right is Marcus Howard, probably had the best game of the entire D-line for Edmonton. Now he gets blocked and turned inside. With that threat out there, he had to get wide, and that opens up an inside lane for Bo Levi Mitchell.
You know, we haven't seen a lot of them, but the reputation already for the 23-year-old quarterback is that he's a gunslinger, but we've seen really an adept ability to run the football. He's picked his spots tonight, 4 carries, 33 yards.
You know, and Dave Dickinson has helped him with play calling tonight. I mean, big involvement with John Cornish here, allowing him to just settle in and run the ball a little bit more, not putting him in pressure, deep in the pocket, try and throw it deep down the field with his O-line banged up.
It's off to Cornish. Flag down as Cornish got outside, would have a first down. See if this is coming back.
Cornish carries inside the 15, but the flag. It's against the Stampeders.
That would have put John Cornish over 100, but holding against Calgary as we hit the 3-minute warning in Edmonton. Investors Group Field. So the holding penalty against Calgary, and Edwin Harrison takes it back to the 44-yard line. Matt Wolfer into the game, and Ted Laurent. Rennie Curran there to stop him.
Walker, he's wrapped up by number 94, Ted Laurent.
Play made by great upfield move by Marcus Howard again. Now it'll be interesting here because second down, this is, although Rennie Paredes hit from 50, it would be about another 50-yard attempt if they don't advance the football from here. Get it to 2 scores.
Second and 19. It's to Price. And he'll be dropped at the 36-yard line. And Rennie Paredes will come on to try and put this beyond a converted touchdown lead.
You got a hot kicker, and you're calling plays if you're Dave Dickinson right now for Bo Levi Mitchell to not get him in trouble. And that's what that was. There's a little hitch pass. You got Rennie Paredes, makes it a 2-possession game. He said, exactly, that's what we wanted. Don't panic. I'm not going to put you deep in the pocket. Try and get second in a bunch. Make this a 2-possession game and chip away here.
And the misses in the first half by Hugh O'Neill. More misses by the Eskimo kicker tonight than Paredes on the year. He really haunt them as Paredes has done it again. 10-point lead, under 2 minutes to go. And nothing seems to bother Rennie Paredes.
Well, Bo Levi Mitchell's the holder. Perfect placement. Laces away. And John Huffnagel understands the importance of making it a 2-possession game. Makes Mike Riley now really have to force issue in that situation he was in last week.
So the team that scored 27 points in 5:51 last week in the fourth quarter needs 10 here in under 2 minutes. Marcus Henry catch a first down, and he'll stop the clock as he steps out.
To take a shot.
At the 47.
Can they orchestrate another photo finish? Take that shot, and Chambers can't hang on. Riley on the money, and Shamad Chambers unable to bring it in.
He was, and that ball put perfectly on the spot. Shamad Chambers out there by himself, the short side of the field. A stutter step, he's got a step. And just the hustle there from Randall. Chris Randall gets his hands in there, and now the talk as this game starts to wind down, Chris, of course, is going to be with what happened this week. And Ed Hervey's press conference calling out Simeon Rotier, saying he wouldn't play tonight, which he didn't dress. Juggled their offensive line. I guess the question is, did it rally that offensive line? They gave up a bunch of sacks again tonight. Or has it backfired? I mean, Edmonton's been in this game from top to bottom. And as I mentioned in the pregame show, there's Simeon Rotier, who I talked to yesterday, and he has been nothing but a great pro. I mean, I said, you know, it must be a difficult situation for you to hear that from your GM. And he said, you know what, the truth is I got to be better. And all I'm going to do now is continue to work at becoming a better football player. So he's being a straight pro about it. But, you know, everyone's been talking about, would this send a negative ripple through the locker room or a positive one? I think the answer to that is only whether you win or lose. And right now, they're down by 10.
Micah Johnson was helped to the sidelines. The big defensive tackle shaken up on that last play. 2nd and 10. Four receivers to the near side. That pass batted down, intended for Cohorn, and he was open.
Deflected at the line of scrimmage. And it's 3rd down for the Eskimos.
So the Eskimos face 3rd down.
You know, and once again, Fred Stamps held to just 2 catches. and he didn't have a catch in the second half. And I've been watching Brandon Smith track him for the most part tonight. 28 has once again limited the production of number 2.
That Calgary defense has not surrendered a 300-yard passing game this year. 3rd and 10 to stay alive. Riley over the middle, incomplete. And the Calgary Stampeders defense forces a turnover on downs. Matt Carter, the intended target.
Juwan Simpson stepped into Carter, who's still feeling the effects of that hit. Juwan Simpson in the middle of your screen right here. He's just going to get some depth and width and just drop back, knowing that Riley needs a big chunk, and then just steps into the receiver as the ball's arriving. Perfect timing.
So the turnovers even, and now the Stampeders offense goes out to kill the final 80 seconds. Cornish down to the 42-yard line, and he hits 100 on the game, tackled by T.J. Hill. But for John Cornish, it's now 4 100-yard rushing games on the season.
And good play calling by Dave Dickinson offensively, and you know, we have to give credit too to Rick Campbell, who's Calgary defense. If you can limit Fred Stamps, which has been their big play guy for Edmonton, a guy who ignites them, you're getting something done, and that's what they've done. They've been able to take him basically out. Just 2 catches in back-to-back games.
Cornish again, reversing field, and with a block, he might have something. Cornish now sprinting down inside the 20-yard line. First down as Cornish pads his stats.
Bo Levi Mitchell.
Timeout.
Yeah, he thought about it. It's a wise decision, though. I think at this point in the game now, you got a 10-point lead. You're just running it out. Watch 19 get out and around here. When Cornish, he just faked. Yeah, I'm going to block. No, I'll just go ahead. Let my running back just get it done. 130 yards now for John Cornish. Now, last year, he didn't have the 100-yard game in the Labor Day Classic, but had a big one in the rematch and picks up some yards here at the end to get well over 100.
Next up for Calgary, the Hamilton Ticats will pay a visit to McMahon a week from the pregame show. Haven't seen a GM single out an offensive lineman like we saw from Ed Hervey. Had never seen the Eskimos with 3 import offensive linemen, and hard to believe they are just seconds away from their 8th consecutive loss.
And that's the first time since '71. That's a long time.
And still without a win at Commonwealth on the season.
And that offensive line still a work in progress, obviously. You know, and again, not that they're the reason for this slide completely. The defense had been giving up, played well tonight, a lot better tonight, but had been giving up big chunks of yards in games, especially against the run.
Second and 10, Walter kicks it outside. Marcel Young will drag him down. This team had given up over 30 in 6 consecutive games. I think everybody assumed that the defense would be the strong part of this Eskimo team this year, but until tonight, that hasn't been the case. Better tonight, but still Bo Levi Mitchell and the Stamps have found a way to put enough points on the board.
Keep pace with Saskatchewan. Keep right in their review mirror.
Clock runs out. And once again, the Calgary Stampeders have won the Labor Day rematch. And the fans here show their displeasure at Commonwealth. John Hufnagel's Stampeders win it 22-12 and move to 8-2 on the year. It's now 1-9 for the Eskimos. So long from Commonwealth. Sports Center is now